Terry Mclaurin was ranked as the 28th best wide receiver in the 2014 college football recruiting class, so where are the 27 receivers ranked higher than him now? Well, to start at number 27 is J.C. Jackson coming out of Florida, who committed to play for the Florida Gators. Sadly, though, in his time at Florida, he saw no playing time and would actually be removed from the team, so he had to transfer to Riverside Community College. And he was good enough there to transfer to Maryland, where he would become a good defensive back for the team. Despite this, though, he would go undrafted in the 2018 NFL Draft and sign with the Patriots, and he actually has become a very good cornerback in the league, having 9 interceptions in 2020, as he'd win a Super Bowl and also be a second-team All-Pro. And J.C. Jackson last played for the Patriots in 2024. And at number 26 is DeAndre Tompkins coming out of Swansboro, North Carolina, who committed to play for Penn State. And in his 4 seasons at Penn State, he was good but never amazing and would go undrafted in 2019 and sign with the Eagles. Sadly, though, he bounced around many different teams, never recording a single statistic in the NFL and last playing for the Packers in 2021. And just cracking the top 25 is Dallas Todd coming out of California, who committed to play for Oklahoma. And in his time at Oklahoma, he only played in 1 game, having 1 catch for 9 yards in 2015. After this, he transferred to NAU, where he never played and was a complete bust of a college football recruit. And coming in at number 24 is Derek Keefe coming out of Cincinnati, Ohio, who committed to play for Alabama. And he would go on to play 5 total seasons for Alabama, but was never good, as he only had 11 catches for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns in his entire career. And now he is currently an assistant wide receivers coach and an offensive analyst for the University of Maryland. And at number 23 is Isaiah McKenzie coming out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who committed to play for Georgia. And overall, in his 3 seasons at Georgia, he got better every single season, but was never that great, only being selected in the 5th round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Broncos. He only played 1 season with the Broncos before joining the Bills, where he became a pretty solid receiver and last played in the NFL in 2024 with the Miami Dolphins practice squad. And at number 22 is Jalen Harvey coming out of California, who committed to play for Arizona State. And he saw 0 playing time in his first 3 seasons at Arizona State, and then he would be converted to a safety in 2018, where he had a very good year, but would sadly go undrafted in the NFL and never play a single down. And now he is currently a campus supervisor for Academy of Richmond. And coming in at number 21 is Jaylen Brown coming out of Phoenix, Arizona, who committed to play for Oregon. And overall, in his 3 seasons at Oregon, he was solid but just never amazing, so he transferred to Northwestern in 2017, where he didn't have a great year. And now he is currently a vacation rental owner for Airbnb and a product manager for AutoNation. Just cracking the top 20 is Armonte Foreman coming out of Texas City, Texas, who committed to play for the Texas Longhorns. And in his 4 years at Texas, he was good but never amazing, only having 1,070 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns in his career, as he would sadly go undrafted and never play a snap in the NFL. And at number 19 is Paris Campbell coming out of Akron, Ohio, who committed to play for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And he didn't see any playing time in his first 3 seasons at Ohio State, but he slowly became to get better and better, and in 2018 he had over 1,000 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. He was great in the season, as he'd be a first-team All-Big Ten selection, and then would go on to be selected in the 2nd round of the 2019 NFL Draft by the Colts. Sadly, though, in his time with the Colts, he was a bust, and he's currently playing for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. And coming in at number 18 is Mark Andrews coming out of Scottsdale, Arizona, who committed to play for Oklahoma. At Oklahoma, he'd be converted to a tight end and was very good there, as he'd actually become a unanimous All-American and won the John Mackey Award. He would then go on to be selected in the 3rd round of the 2018 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Ravens, and through his first 7 seasons in the NFL, he's actually been a pretty solid tight end for them, as he's so far made 3 Pro Bowls and a first-team All-Pro selection in his career. And at number 17 is Jeffrey Mead coming out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, who committed to play for the Oklahoma Sooners. And overall, in his 4 years at Oklahoma, he just never really did much, only having 314 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns in his career. Now he is currently the owner of Mead Digital Media. And at number 16 is Ishmael Zamora coming out of Houston, Texas, who committed to play for the Baylor Bears. And in his time at Baylor, he didn't do very much until the 2016 season, when he was great, having over 800 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Sadly, though, he went undrafted in the NFL, bounced around many different teams, and last playing professional football in 2019. And just cracking into the top 15 is Markel Pack coming out of Mississippi, who committed to play for the Ole Miss Rebels. And overall, in his 4 seasons at Ole Miss, he just never really did that much, only having 63 catches for 777 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Coming in at number 14 is Trey Quinn coming out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, who committed to play for LSU. And in his first 2 years at LSU, he didn't do very much, so he made a business decision in 2017 and transferred to SMU, where he was great, having over 1,000 receiving yards. After this, he'd be selected in the 7th round of the 2018 NFL Draft by Washington and added 2 solid seasons there, but then began to bounce around the NFL and is currently playing for the Michigan Panthers of the UFL. And at number 13 is Artavis Scott coming out of Tarpon Springs, Florida, who committed to play for Clemson. He was immediately great at Clemson, having over 900 receiving yards in each of his first 2 seasons. And he would go on to win a national championship with the Tigers and was a first-team All-ACC selection, but would sadly go undrafted in the NFL, never playing a snap in the league, and is currently a graduate assistant for Clemson. And at number 12 is Drake Harris coming out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, who committed to play for the Michigan Wolverines. And in his 4 years at Michigan, he was a complete bust, so in 2018 he transferred to Western Michigan, where he was solid but never amazing. And now he currently works as a senior accountant manager for Dupree Logistics. And coming in at number 11 is Frank Anicho coming out of Houston, Texas, who committed to play for Texas A&M. And overall at Texas A&M, he was a complete bust, not having over 100 receiving yards in his career there. So in 2018, he transferred. And he played one season at Stephen A. Austin, where he didn't do very much. He's now currently a performance coach and an accountant executive for Allstate. And just cracking the top 10 is Cam Sims, coming out of Louisiana, who committed to play for Alabama. And in his 4 years at Alabama, he didn't do very much there, but did win 2 national championships, but would sadly go undrafted in 2018 and sign with Washington. And he actually got to see playing time in Washington for 4 seasons and last played in the NFL in 2024. And at number 9 is Allen Lazard, coming out of Iowa, who committed to play for Iowa State. And overall, in his 4 seasons with the Cyclones, he was a very good wide receiver for them, as he'd actually be a first-team All-Big 12 selection twice. Sadly, though, he went undrafted in the NFL, signing with the Jaguars, and then the Packers would pick him off waivers. And with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, he became a pretty good wide receiver for them for 5 seasons and is currently playing for the New York Jets. And coming in at number 8 is Justin Brent, coming out of Indianapolis, Indiana, who committed to play for Notre Dame. And overall, in his 3 years at Notre Dame, he was a complete bust. So in 2017, he transferred to Nevada, where he also wasn't very good, is now currently working for RGA. And at number 7 is Johnny Dixon, coming out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, who committed to play for Ohio State. And it took him until his 3rd season for him to actually see playing time, but in his last 2 years, he was pretty solid, but would sadly go undrafted in 2019 and sign with the Houston Texans. And he last played professional football in 2023 with the USFL. And coming in at number 6 is Josh Malone, coming out of Gatlin, Tennessee, who committed to play for the Volunteers. And in his 3 seasons at Tennessee, he became a pretty solid receiver and would be selected in the 4th round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Bengals. And he actually had to play a little bit with the Bengals, but then he began to bounce around many different teams and last played in the XFL in 2023. And just cracking into the top 5 is KD Cannon, coming out of Mount Pleasant, Texas, who committed to play for Baylor. And he was immediately a dominant receiver for Baylor, having over 3,000 receiving yards and 27 touchdowns in his career, as he'd be a first-team All-Big 12 selection, but would sadly go undrafted in the NFL and never play snap in the league. And now he's currently playing in the XFL for the San Antonio Brahmas. And at number 4 is Erman Lane, coming out of Homestead, Florida, who committed to play for the Florida State Seminoles. And he would be converted to a defensive back and had 3 solid seasons there, but was never amazing, never playing in the league, and is now currently a head coach for the GA Rattlers. And just cracking into the top 3 is Malachi Dupree, coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana, who committed to play for LSU. And in his 3 years with the Tigers, he was solid but never amazing, and would still be selected in the 7th round of the 2017 NFL Draft, but never made an active roster. He bounced around many different teams and last played in the XFL in 2020 with the DC Defenders. And coming in at number 2 is Travis Rudolph, coming out of Florida, who committed to play for Florida State. And in his 3 seasons with the Seminoles, he became a pretty good receiver, but would sadly go undrafted in 2018 and sign with the Giants. After that, though, he was a bust in the league, not really playing much, and last played in the CFL in 2024. And the number 1 college football receiver recruit was Speedy Noyle, coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana, who committed to play for Texas A&M. And in his 3 seasons with the Aggies, he was good but never great and just could not stay out of trouble.